Thank you. This meeting is called to order at 4:03 p.m. The agenda was posted on the committee website, and this meeting is held under the authority of the executive order extending remote meeting provisions of the open meeting law. And if you're on Zoom, please ensure your name accurately identifies yourself, mute your microphone, raise your hand if you have any questions, and please identify yourself with your name and address when you are called on if you're a member of the public. As always, we'll have a chance for public to make comments later on. And we need to have a recorder for tonight's meeting. Right now, Richard was going to do that. He is not here yet.
I can do that, Nat.
Okay, thank you very much. So at this time, I will ask committee members to indicate that they are present when I call their name. Let's see, Deb Adelman.
Here.
Dorcas Miller.
Here.
Sam Stearns. Sam, you're muted. Sam Stearns, you're muted. Are you here? I will come back to you. Tracy Hansen.
Here.
Mary Beth Barker.
Here.
And Nat Welch, I am here. And with 5 members reporting in and 1 on mute, we have a quorum for today's meeting. Our first agenda item is to approve the minutes from the June 14th meeting that we had. And just to remind committee members, we are redoing the agenda for the meeting that was supposed to be held in July. So, the meeting of June 14th, you've all been sent copies of the notes for that meeting. Are there any edits to the minutes that committee members want to suggest? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the Bruce Freeman meeting of June 14th.
A motion to approve the minutes from July 7th.
June 14th.
Excuse me, June 14th. I apologize.
Okay. And a second?
Second.
Okay. Ms. Edelman?
Approve.
Ms. Hanson?
Approve.
Ms. Miller?
Approved.
Mr. Stearns?
Approve.
Approve. And I so note that you are now officially attending as a member. Thank you. Ms. Barker?
Approve.
And I, Mr. Welch, approve. The minutes are approved as from the July 4th meeting. I now will ask Marcia Rasmussen, the Director of Planning and Land Management, to provide her monthly update. Marcia, you have the floor.
Okay, that update memo is posted on the town's website. Phase 2B, there was a staff Mass DOT site walk of the trail to review final tree trimming before the asphalt was to be installed. The asphalt has not yet been installed, and that's due to the tree trimming that needs to be done. We also had Concord Public Works, Highway and Grounds walk the site after we had done that, and he identified some additional trees. So they're going to coordinate additional tree removal so that we don't have problems down the road. That's being done. And then the issue of the chain link fence at the state police horse barn was undersized for the installation of the screening material that they wanted to put in. So rather than remove and reinstall the fence because there's no longer access to that location, they will be installing a cedar fence along the path at a point on the bridge along the entire length of the state police property. And that needs to be done before the final asphalt is installed. So that's been delayed until later this fall. For 2C, the Junction Park conceptual redesign recommendations were approved by this committee and posted to your webpage. You were scheduled to meet on July 11th with the select board. So that happened, and some additional work is being done in that regard. I'm going to update for that. I've done some outreach to the Commission on Disabilities member, Jennifer Brook. So I've set up a meeting to meet with her at Junction Park to review your proposal and some of the ideas that were brought forward at the select board meeting by the West Concord Green Thumbs and the Commission on Disability to see what we can implement short term and what we might need to seek additional funding for from I think the Community Preservation Committee. And that application will be due September 16th. And then I need to follow up with scheduling meetings for Public Works and other groups on the implementation of those recommendations that you made. For phase 2D Sudbury and the last half mile in Concord, that has been advertised in the Central Register. So we'll look forward to getting those bids later this fall. Also wanted to note that beyond the 2D project, the Sudbury Select Board has authorized a contract to allow planning and design to proceed for the extension of the Bruce Freeman Rail Trail from the intersection with the Mass Central Rail Trail to the Framingham Town Line. And that Framingham has also received a Mass Trails grant to begin planning their portion of the Bruce Freeman Rail Trail, even though they have not yet acquired the land from CSX. So they're still negotiating that contract. For the Community Connections Grant, we had one panel that was missing from the roof of the shelter over the bike racks that were installed. That has been installed now. We did receive it in July and it was installed. So that project is now complete. The Concord Prison Cemetery project, we don't have any additional information. I have not had an opportunity to follow up further on that. And the Massachusetts Office of Transportation and Tourism, or no, Tourism and, what is it? Not. I used to know what it was. I'm sorry, I have COVID, so I have COVID fog. We are.
Is it economic development or something like that?
No, it's the Massachusetts Office of Tourism and something.
And economic something, I thought.
No,
No,
it's just
okay.
MOTT.
All right.
So anyway, they have a grant application with the town of Acton. And we're coordinating with Acton. We'll probably have some 3 wayfinding signs installed in Concord as part of that program at Giroux Park, over the bridge to near Neshoba Brook, and in the center, either at the Main Street intersection or where the trail crosses the parking lot for the West Concord commuter lot. And that is my update. Update of the update.
Update of the update. It's the Mass Office of Travel and Tourism.
Thank you.
It's okay. I have another computer to look stuff up on, so that worked fine. And I think very good news on Sudbury and Framingham. So that's exciting news.
Yeah.
Have you heard anything about when they will award the contract yet or not?
It's just for design, so no, I don't.
Okay, sounds good. And is anybody else in the waiting room?
I don't see anyone else in the waiting room.
Okay. The next topic to cover again is related to, let's have to pull out my agenda here, committee chairs and liaison assignments. And we're going to focus on committee chairs today. As you may recall, Richard and I have been co-chairs for a period of time, and now is the time for the committee to decide what happens next. And Richard has offered to become a regular member and step down from being a co-chair. And we've been looking to get someone to replace him. And Adrian was someone who had indicated an interest in doing that. I think I'm doing this right, Marcia, is that correct? Okay. So first we have a discussion among the members if that, any questions about that idea of Richard now stepping down from co-chair and Adrian coming up as a way for us to bridge, because I'm going to step down next, not right away. but as my term comes to an end, so we can have a smooth transition and continue to do the work of this committee. So the motion would be to appoint Adrian co-chair through the end of the, I guess, our fiscal year or whatever, until we kick over, which is the last day of the month of town meeting. So that's the motion we're going to put on the table, and would like to have someone second that.
My second.
Okay. And discussion. Any comments, discussion?
Nat, just so I get the notes right, you said the timing is what?
The timing would be until the last day of the month of town meeting. So she would be co-chair until then. And then at that point, the next meeting, the committee would then vote on when I decide to become a member, if I'm still on the committee then, because my term is up on April 23. Then the committee would pick a new co-chair.
Okay.
Younger, smarter, better looking than me, I hope.
I don't know, it's hard to beat. So Adrian would
Smarter,
start,
easy. Is easy.
Adrian would start today, theoretically.
Yes, it would happen
Okay.
based on a vote. So that's what the vote would be. The vote would be to accept Richard's stepping down and Adrian becoming co-chair to replace Richard.
Okay, great. I
Other
thought it went
comments?
well last time, so I guess I would just make the motion to make Adrian the co-chair with you, Nat.
Okay. Second?
Okay.
Okay. Any comments, questions?
I just want to, as part of the minutes, note that we are extremely grateful for both the chair and the co-chair's work over the entirety of their terms, particularly because there have been so many new members of the committee that have joined. And I'd like the minutes to reflect that we're in deep gratitude to all of your service.
Thank you. And I will thank you for Richard as well, because I know he feels that. I'm not sure where he is, but I know he feels that.
Mhm.
So thank you very much, Deb. And I would just add, I've been really lucky to work with Richard, and I will look forward to getting Adrian up to speed and the next generation taking over eventually. So this is good. If there's no other comments or questions, I think we should hold a vote. Okay. A vote. The motion is to elect Adrian Boardman co-chair until April 2023. Ms. Adelman, sorry.
Agree.
Let's see. Ms. Boardman? She's not here, sorry. Ms. Hanson?
Agree.
Ms. Miller?
Agreed.
Mr. Stearns?
Agree.
Ms. Barker?
Agree.
And Mr. Welch votes aye as well. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you all. And I'm looking forward to the next few months and working on some other exciting topics. The next item of business is trail safety. And I think Mary Beth, you are one of the folks who had brought this up, and Deb, I know you as well, and I think others have also raised it as an issue. And do you have a comment you'd like to make, Mary Beth?
I think Deb gave a report the last time about some of the things we discussed when we,
Yep.
yeah,
Right,
so
that's
maybe
right.
just have that happen again. Yeah.
Can you just refresh us on some of the key points for the minutes?
Me, right? Just want to make
Yes.
sure.
You
Okay,
both of you. Yes, you, Deb.
Okay, good. And sorry, I just realized my video wasn't on. I apologize.
It's a great
Okay.
picture, though. It's good.
Yeah, so you just felt like I was here the whole time, so it doesn't matter.
Yes.
Yes, so I'm going to state some of the key terms that are key concepts that we've been talking about, with the public. The first is just a general comment that safety is really about attitudes and behaviors and creating a safe space. So to say it another way, we can put up signs, we can do many things, but it's an attitude, and that comes through clearly awareness and education. These things take time. These things should be easy for the public to understand. As a corollary to that, we discussed that if you want to create a safe space for people to walk, ride, otherwise engage on the Bruce Freeman Rail Trail, then the rules should be easy to understand and they should be accessible. We are very confident that Concord has done a great job, but the rail trail runs through many towns. And so we're somewhat concerned that perhaps there could be a little confusion when people come from other towns, and more to the point, this would be something that we should look further into if we can enhance and improve the visibility of those rules and make them easy to understand. And there's some details that we've gotten into on that. We do believe this is an opportunity for the community's involvement and engagement. It's a great opportunity. And I think we've seen that through the public participation in the meetings that we have with the Bruce Freeman Rail Trail Advisory Committee. The public wants there to be safety. And as we go forward and develop, for example, initiatives, the public will be very, very central to that effort. There are some practical things that we think that we can recommend, which I won't go into now, but as part of that, that further safety assessment. And then the last thing that we talked about is use of rail trails in general, and the Bruce Freeman is only increasing, not the least of which is because we, as we just talked about, will have continuity with increasing number of towns, but because we have more types of vehicles, which I'll get into in the next piece of the agenda, and just a bigger population, which is great. And so we really close by saying what we think is the next step is to create a subcommittee of the Bruce Freeman Rail Trail Advisory Committee, much like we had the Junction Park subgroup. And the purpose of the subgroup will be to recommend short-term, medium-term, and long-term safety awareness recommendations. And then for this committee to then determine what the next steps would be with those recommendations. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes,
Thank you.
sounds good.
I was muted. I was thanking you, but I was muted. It was a quiet thank you.
Okay.
You also mentioned, I think, that there is the Friends of the Bruce Freeman are putting together a multi-town session. So I think having a subcommittee and having members attend from it would be, I think, very helpful. That meeting is scheduled right now.
September
15th, I believe.
Yeah.
I think from around 2 to 4 or something. But if we could just note in the minutes that there is going to be it's going to be at the Harvey Wheeler Center, and more details. No, it won't be. Marcia, where is it going to be?
I thought it was going to be at the Fowler Library.
Fowler Library. Thank you. They're both in the same part of town. I get them confused easily.
Did you say 2 to 4?
The meeting, the Friends are convening representatives from each of the towns that is along the Bruce Freeman Rail Trail, including Sudbury, to kind of convene and have conversations about areas of common interest that might include safety rules. Most likely, I'm guessing a discussion around e-bikes would be included in that. And whatever else happens to come up. I think Sudbury will be using it as a chance to learn more about how things are done on the trail. So the agenda is not yet set. It's being managed by the Friends.
Can you,
So
what day is that, please?
September 15th.
And that's 2 to 4?
Yes, some are approximately 2 to 4, Deb, at the Fowler Library. I think it has to end at like 4:15 because there's another, there's a book group or something meeting in there at 4:30. And when we get an agenda, I think we should probably post it on our website, and I'll make sure all the members get a copy of it. So that I think it really dovetails nicely with the work that Mary Beth and the conversations Mary Beth and Deb have had about safety.
Yeah.
So I would like to make a motion to form a safety subcommittee.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, and let's see, I think we're let's see, Deb and Mary Beth, and is there a third person we want to include in that?
I just had Barbara, yeah,
Dorcas was on it, right?
Dorcas, okay. good.
Yes, okay, perfect.
And then, yeah, that would be great. And we welcome anybody else, of course, but.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'll make a motion to form a safety subcommittee of the Bruce Freeman Rail Trail. That would include the members, Deb Ottelman, Mary Beth Barker, and Dorcas Miller. Can I have a second?
Second.
Okay. You got all that, Tracy, for the notes?
I think so, yeah.
Good, okay.
And that means as a subcommittee, they need to post their meetings and make them accessible to the public.
And
Yes.
do you join those, Marcia, or no?
If I'm available, I can open the meetings for you. If you're doing it by Zoom, I can help coordinate a location if you want to meet in person. So yes.
And are we allowed to do them on Zoom? I didn't think we were allowed anymore.
You know that you are.
You are, the legislation was extended to
Oh,
March of 2023.
Yep.
Why can't they? Okay, I just,
Good.
whatever.
And I'm happy to to answer anybody's questions individually, so we're not a subcommittee, about the running a committee and what you need
Yeah.
to do and the rules and regulations. And the first thing you guys will do when you have your first meeting is vote a chair of the subcommittee, and then you can have a lot of fun. And obviously, I'd be happy to sit in as a non-voting member of the subcommittee if that would be helpful.
Okay.
At periods of time. So then, yeah, go ahead, Deb.
Yeah, no, that's great. And my only question is, when would you like that first subcommittee meeting to happen, just generally, not a day, but like before X date? If you can just give me a general idea and I can start looking at calendars.
So another member should speak up on this. My thinking is it might be useful to have one before September 15th, just so you can kind of think about what are safety issues that one of you might want to listen in for with that multi-town meeting.
Okay.
If you think that's good,
Okay.
so that's my thought. Other member, Mary Beth or Dorcas, any thoughts on first meeting time?
Anything works for me.
Yeah, I'm pretty flexible, but I mean, I think if we can't pull it off before the multi-town meeting, I think there's some benefits to waiting to hear what other people's issues are and ideas are regarding safety. I don't think that would hurt to, bring those into the first meeting, but I think it could go either way. I'm fine with it.
That's interesting. Yeah, I appreciate that. It could go either way. Okay, I will send out once I get the minutes, I'll send out a note and a doodle. We'll see if we can get some time. The meeting cannot happen until after Labor Day though, so it'll be that week of the 6th, some night that week, or early the following. Otherwise, to your point, it'll be after the 15th.
That sounds great. I'm excited already.
Okay.
So let's call the vote. The motion is to form a safety subcommittee as described, with Ms. Adelman, Ms. Barker, and Ms. Miller as the members to meet at a date and time to be determined later. Ms. Adelman?
Agree.
Great. Ms. Hanson?
Agree.
Ms. Miller?
Aye.
Mr. Stearns? You're muted. Thank you. Ms. Barker?
Agree.
And Mr. Welch votes aye. The motion passes by roll call vote unanimously.
Nat,
Congratulations.
yeah,
Oh.
I just arrived at the meeting. Sorry for being late. There was a confluence of issues.
Nope, but
I'll
we're
vote
happy to
yes.
have you. Have the minutes, please note that the former co-chair, Mr. Hollander, has arrived.
I wasn't there if you voted out.
Right, your wishes were
My wishes were granted in the
passed
absence.
on to the
Thank you.
committee. A unanimous vote, by the way. So that's good. Just to bring up to speed, we just voted in the safety subcommittee. We had a trail safety discussion. We did the chair, co-chair work, and then on the agenda next is an e-bike discussion. I don't know, Deb, if there's anything new you want to bring to the table.
Yep, I have a couple things, and what I
Good.
thought I would do, I think everybody was here, at the last discussion, but just to sort of round things out, there are different types of e-bikes. They're only growing. They're used by, a wider group of people. It's not just people that don't feel like riding. It's parents that are taking their kids to school using a bike instead of a car. It's people that have had injuries and the only way they can get outside is to be on an e-bike. And yeah, it's people that perhaps their abilities are changing, and so they need a little extra. And so there's a wider group every day of people that want to use e-bike. And it's not just about how fast e-bikes are going. It's also about, do those people even know how to use the e-bike? Is the e-bike going to break down? And yes, of course, it's some of those same safety issues. And so what we think is that the conversation of e-bike can be consumed in the larger conversation of safety and awareness. The only thing that I think is relevant to this group that some of you may or may not be aware is that some of the confusion, particularly in the Commonwealth, has been because Massachusetts itself did not have clarification on what is an e-bike versus what is a motorized vehicle. And that left it really up to towns to do what they wanted. And that has led to differences in towns as to how they were allowing use of e-bikes. Effective on August 1st, legislation was passed by the Massachusetts legislature, which did a couple things. It did talk about two classes of bikes. There's a class 1, which basically says you have to pedal. And if you have a little bit of pedal, you're pedaling, the motor is going to let you go 20 miles an hour. Class 2 says you still have to use a motor, but in this case, you don't have to pedal, but you're still limited to 20. Class 1, have to pedal, limit of 20 miles an hour. Class 2, don't have to pedal 20. Legislation didn't talk about a class 3. I'm not even going to get into that, but at least it's a start. In addition, the legislation basically said that e-bikes, if you have an e-bike, and I'm not talking about how this will be enforced. They said that if you have one of these two classes, you have to have a sticker on your bike. Who knows how they're going to enforce that? I don't know how they're going to do that. But it is a victory for the advocates of e-bikes, because now it's back to the towns who can at least have some consistency with how we're going to deal with class 1 and how we're going to deal with class 2. And so again, I think in this meeting that's going to happen on the 15th, they're going to talk about that, and something that Nat had brought up in some back and forth that I saw was we want consistency. It would be ideal on the rail trail that we all talk about what are the best safety practices and our accepted practices for e-bike. So that's really the update. I think the best thing to do is to consume e-bike under the broader category of safety and awareness.
So the e-bike conversation should happen in the safety subcommittee. Is that your thinking? That makes sense?
I think so. And if the
Yeah.
subcommittee, through discussion, we find that we can't do it, we can always come back to this group and say, we need a second subcommittee, but I'm not feeling that right now.
Yeah, yeah. I certainly think we have the right people in the subcommittee to have the conversation. So that's good. Was there anything in the legislation that kind of required towns to have a common towns along a trail to have a common policy or not? Do you know?
I'm just reading. I have the legislation open right now. Let me just go back in
It's
there.
not critical. I just because that was something that I had.
Yeah, you
on
had
my
asked
own.
about.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just give me 1 minute. I'm just reading.
Okay.
It defines what an e-bike is. See.
While you're looking, I will say that I spoke with Galen Mook, who is the executive director of Mass Bikes, who's been there's a lobbying organization for bicyclists and bike kinds of policies and regulations, and he is also very pleased that the thing had passed, and he did mention that there was some consideration given to that, but I'm not sure where it is in the bill, but that's fine.
Yeah, the only thing that I read is it said that e-bikes are prohibited on unpaved bike paths unless it says the municipality has voted itself to agree they could be. So in our world, that's going to be Reformatory Trail.
Right.
And so if Concord Reformatory Trail votes and says, oh yeah, no, e-bikes are good, and then they cross over into the next town, they're like, oh, no, we said you can't.
Right.
I don't
That's
see in
an
the
issue.
legislation where they adjust that.
Yeah. Okay. That sounds good. Okay. Excellent. The next item.
Well, do we need to motion anything about incorporating e-bike issues in the other committee?
I don't feel a need to. Marcia,
Okay.
do we?
I think that it's fine under the umbrella that has been
Okay.
identified here. I don't
Okay.
think it's a vote.
It's in the minutes that we talked about having it there, so that's a good start. If anyone wants to dot our i's and cross our t's, we're happy to do that at some point. Deb, thank you very much for your long and patient work on the e-bikes. I mean, you did an awesome white paper in December, and I'm not sure we recognize the work that you did. So it's really great to have you continue to do this work. And do you own an e-bike?
No,
Well, this may change you, huh?
no, it's not me. It's a lot of my relatives do. And then I've been doing a lot of walking around town, and I've just talked to a lot of people, and it's really helpful. You just educate it.
Yeah.
You get educated when you talk to people. So.
Yeah, okay, that's great. Thank you again. The next item on the agenda is a story walk proposal that was at the request, similar to what we did a year or two ago. The request to do that, to put a story walk on the Bruce Freeman was withdrawn. And it will be down at the Emerson Umbrella. So that item is off our list. Are there any other member reports, correspondence, member issues that they would like to bring up? Okay. Is there anything, Terry, that you'd like to bring from the select board that we need to be aware of? I know there we go.
No, this is a redo of your other meeting, and I will report on all the progress that you've made. Thanks for your patience in doing this meeting again.
I know. It's okay. And yes, and thanks to the committee members who took some time out of usually our off month to do this. Now we're open for any citizen comments, public comments, anything that anyone would like to bring up. If you could raise your hand. And we have, Marcia, you have your hand raised first.
Yes, I just know that you had asked me to look into an incident that occurred on the
Oh,
trail
yes.
involving an accident where a person ran into what was reported. He ran into the splitter island or the curb island that's in the middle of the path. And I have followed up with the police. It was minor, but he did get retransported to Emerson Hospital. They believe it was either due to the shadows at that portion where they didn't see the trail clearly. This has been was an issue in Acton, and they installed these flags that that you can drive over. So I will be ordering those and coordinating with either our facilities team or our public works team to install them on those splitter islands, probably over the next couple of months. So that's my update.
Okay, so the flags will make it clear that there's an island there.
It will help alert
yeah.
people to the fact that they're there. Yes,
That's great. Well, and thank you for the quick response. And thank you for reminding me I asked you about it. So, okay, great. Next, Mr. Avakian, could you identify yourself and your address?
Yes, Ara, can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can. Welcome.
Ara, thank you. Ara Avakian, 501 Powder Mill Road. I'd like to make a comment and ask a question. First of all, I want to thank the committee for being stewards of such a wonderful resource. I am fortunate enough to live across this. I can walk to the end of my driveway and hop on the trail and walk Williams and back in a nice 2-mile walk. So I really take advantage of that. In the cooler weather, I prefer swimming myself. But anyway, the comment is we can see the southern entrance to the culvert, AKA tunnel under Powder Mill Road from our property. And very recently, I think it was last week, my wife Susan noticed some additional graffiti on that tunnel. There's always been graffiti on the tunnel, but this was particularly objectionable. It was vitriolic and very addressed to an individual. So she reported it to the town public works. I think they directed her to the police, and the police came out and looked at it. So really, I'm just bringing that to your attention in case you don't know about it, because the police were made aware of it. So that's the comment part. The question I have is, I know the town in some sense is responsible for maintenance of the trail, and I would assume that includes taking care of problematic graffiti. Little doodles and such I don't think they don't bother me, and probably don't bother anybody else in the town, but something that outrageous that we saw is really bothersome. So it needs to be addressed. So that's the question part.
The question meaning, if something is done there, who's responsible for cleaning it up and getting rid of it?
Yeah, and when is it going to happen?
Okay, Marcia, I think that falls into your.
Yeah, unfortunately it does. But it is the purview of the Concord Public Works Division to maintain. There was anti-graffiti coating placed on that tunnel. So, but I have to let you know that we are short-staffed, and so they may not get out there right away. I will re-bring this to the attention of Aaron McCloskey and Alan Cathcart, and ask that it be taken care of as soon as possible.
A follow-up question, please. So,
Yes.
So we originally reported it to the Public Works Department, and they directed us to the police. And I'm wondering if the police got back to the Public Works or to whoever is responsible for fixing it, or is my comment here at this meeting necessary to get action?
That's a really good question. It should not be. It should be, the fact that you reported it to Concord Public Works and the police, that should have taken care of it. I'm very
Thank-
sorry that it didn't happen.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Avakian, thank you for joining us and sharing that. It is disturbing. I do remember last year we were going to have someone do a mural on that wall, which would have been a lot nicer, but they moved on. So, Marcia, thank you for doing that. Terry, does the select board have any comment about that or no? No. Okay.
No, it's a public works issue. I agree with Marcia.
Okay. Any other public comments or?
I see Richard Follander
Yeah.
has his hand up.
Richard?
I think that, in terms of graffiti like that, I mean, one of the, like in New York City, when graffiti was rampant, they adopted a policy that when the trains came into a station, they were immediately cleaned. And I don't know what the graffiti is there, but if it's offensive to the degree that Mr. Avakian has mentioned, then I think that it might be worthwhile. I don't know if the committee can do this, or anything, but I don't think, days go by, more appears. I do think if it is, I don't know what it is, but if it's an issue, then the longer it sits, the longer people will relish the opportunity to do more. So I'd really encourage someone in the town to take responsibility to deal with it right away.
Yeah, it's directed towards an individual and it's very extreme. And it's really, it stands out way above all the other graffiti.
Okay, Richard, thank you for your comment. Any other comments or questions from the public or the committee?
Well, I just wanted to know if, is there something you can put on the wall so that normal graffiti doesn't work?
Marcia?
Not really. There's a coating that makes it easier to clean up, but there's nothing that I know of or Mass DOT knows of that can prevent graffiti.
Oh, do we have that coating?
Yes, it was placed, so it should make it easier to clean up. I'll just have to follow up with Public Works.
Okay.
I think Mary Beth.
Mary
Yeah,
Beth.
I just have a question about the, to go backward, the flags on the island. Will there be flags placed on all the islands at the intersections or just at Williams?
All of them.
All of them.
I think there, let me see, 1, 2, 3. There are either 4 or 5 intersections, so I'll be ordering 10 to 20 flags. If they get, that way there would be replacements if they need them.
Mhm.
And just so I can understand, because I was on the rail trail. I rented one of the bikes from the bike place. And PS, it didn't lock. And I tried to contact people on the app and they said, we can't help you, talk to the town of Concord. Really? So I did my best, but the bike wouldn't lock. So there's an unlocked bike there. Anyway, so are you talking about like you get to the end and there's like an intersection and there's like a cement sort of triangle?
Mhm.
And forgive me, I don't mean to be rude. How do you not see that? I don't understand.
If you're with a group of people, or if there are shadows, or you're not paying attention, it happens. This was an issue along the Acton portion that
Okay.
Barbara Pike did raise concerns and Acton did install. It's just a little red triangle that sticks upright. It's heavy duty plastic. It folds down when you drive over it. But it's enough to, it rather than painting everything bright yellow, this should be enough to alert people to the fact that there's something in the way.
I will say, as your eyes get older, I've been there at certain times of day, the way the tree shadows are, and if the light's hitting you and my glasses are as dirty as they usually are, you have to pay attention.
Okay, so we're not talking about the cement that's raised up that is an
Yes.
island.
Yes,
It's like,
Yes.
it's very high up and it's like 6 feet wide and like a foot high. That I didn't.
no. It's the smaller ones, the
It's
lower
just a
down ones.
6-inch curb kind of thing.
And
Okay.
it's a little triangle. It kind of splits the trail when you get to the intersection. So that if you're going one direction, you stay to one side. If you're coming the other direction, you're on the other side.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to go right over there again, because I know on the
Yeah.
Cape Cod Rail Trail, I mean, it's like there's never a question, you know exactly where you're at.
Yeah,
So,
okay. Okay, any other comments, questions? I would like to thank everybody for taking time out of their August to participate today. We have made the agenda somewhat more fail-safe by including not just a link, but also instructions on how to go to Zoom and actually put in the meeting ID and password. So hopefully that will make up for any future, help eliminate that kind of future problem. So I'd like to have a motion to close the meeting.
Motion second.
Second, okay. Ms. Edelman,
agree.
Mr. Hollander? You're muted. Mr. Hollander,
Aye.
thank you. Ms. Hanson,
Agree.
Ms. Miller,
Aye.
Mr. Stearns,
Agreed.
Ms. Barker,
Aye.
and Mr. Welch. And the motion passes. This meeting is finished at 4:50 p.m. Thank you all for a very efficient meeting. Our next meeting is the 8th of September. And until then, have a great summer. So thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Take care,
you.
everybody. Bye-bye.
Enjoy your trip now.